Hi everyone, my name is Prav Tivana and I lead AWS Content Delivery Network Service Amazon CloudFront. Just to refresh, and as you might know well too, Amazon CloudFront is hugely scaled, fast content delivery network that securely delivers data, videos, applications, and APIs to customers globally with low latency and high transfer speeds. And before we start, I would also like to welcome all of you to the week long virtual event on AWS Content Delivery Network and associated services. Sessions for this week are custom tailored for IT leaders, developers, CDN experts, architects, and product managers who are looking to learn more about improving performance, security, and reliability when delivering content over the internet. Our product and engineering teams have worked hard to prepare these sessions, and hopefully, you will enjoy these. In my talk today, I'm going to talk about the building blocks of Amazon CloudFront Service, as well as share with you all the trends and learnings we have got running the CDN service for past many years, and especially in the past 18 months during the pandemic. Well, last 18 months of pandemic indeed have been pretty interesting in the CDN space. COVID-19 has accelerated use of digital services such as online shopping, entertainment, remote working, virtual classrooms, and the trend is long lasting and continues in 2021. Businesses are bringing forward their plans to digitize products, services, so that their customers have continued uninterrupted access. And it has made super hard for our customers as CloudFront with its focus on our team has been working super hard for our customers as CloudFront with its focus on security, availability, and reliability, which helps businesses make this transition faster, offer uninterrupted service, enable newer business models, and reach new markets worldwide. The second part of this keynote will be addressed by Andrew Thomas, who runs the perimeter protection services in AWS. So let's start with how we see CloudFront service and what are the four pillars of CloudFront. First and foremost is service fundamentals of security, availability, and performance, and in that order. We truly believe that excelling on these dimensions is the most important responsibility of a CDN service. Second is the programmable edge. Over the years, running the CDN service, we have learned that our customers love the capability to easily run code across AWS locations globally, allowing them to personalize content and respond to their users with improved latencies. For example, you can use CloudFront functions to deliver unique content based on visitor attributes, generate customer responses, or conduct A/B testing running your own custom code on secure AWS infrastructure. Today, we offer two core capabilities when it comes to programming on the edge. First is Lambda at Edge, which is an extension of AWS Lambda that allows you to run custom functions in AWS regions in response to CloudFront events. Then we also have CloudFront functions, which are hyper optimized for short lived common CDN customization functions and provide unlimited scale at a very low cost. Both CloudFront functions and Lambda at Edge protect your data from attacks such as side channel attacks with built in security isolation. The third dimension is our focus on DevOps and self service capabilities for the developers and administrators. We provide multitude of capabilities there, including console and command line interfaces. We provide developers with a rich set of APIs to create, configure, and maintain CloudFront distributions. In addition, developers have access to a number of tools such as AWS CloudFormation, Code Deploy, Code Commit, and AWS SDKs to configure and deploy their workloads with Amazon CloudFront. On top of that, we enable real-time reporting and metrics, deep integration with Amazon CloudWatch and Kinesis so that our customers can get operational insights in real time. And fourth dimension is our deep integration into the AWS stack. CloudFront works seamlessly with any AWS origin, such as Amazon S3, Amazon EC2, Elastic Load Balancer, or with any custom HTTP origin of yours. Our deep integration with Route 53 for DNS, perimeter protection for security services, and elemental media services help our customers to have a one-stop destination for all their content delivery use cases. CloudFront has hundreds of thousands of customers with a varying use cases and requirements across multiple market segments of growing startups to very mature enterprises. Our customer base is spread globally across multiple industry verticals such as media and entertainment, gaming, financial services, e-commerce, social media, and ad tech. It's hard to go over all these hundreds and thousands of customers, but to quote some key examples, BBC, Fox, and CBS like media giants use us for their video and streaming workloads such as Super Bowl or European soccer. Epic Games use us to distribute their game downloads across the globe. Amazon Prime Video uses us for serving their video content and for live streaming of events such as English Premier League and Wimbledon. We scale our services, especially for Amazon.com scale, for their static and dynamic content delivery. As I mentioned at the start of my presentation, we are seeing some unique trends during the pandemic. Let's start with these trends. First trend is that online scale for our CDN is now exponentially bigger. Here in this slide, you can see that CloudFront traffic has grown since the start of COVID at the start of March 2020. And the trend continues in 2021. We have seen 55% peak bandwidth growth week over week from March 2020. We have also seen 80% plus growth in bytes delivered globally since the start of pandemic. We are also seeing new and existing exciting trends with CloudFront customers. We are seeing customers in multiple market segments using CloudFront for enabling new business models, bringing existing models online for broader reach, or simply adapting to a fast changing world. For example, Kisway, a startup that hosts ticketed live streaming events for fans around the world, including concerts, sporting events, and live television. In June of 2020, the company used Amazon services, including CloudFront, to host a BTS concert for close to 756,000 viewers, setting a Guinness World Record for the world's largest virtual concert. Another example is of Jordan Ministry of Education. They launched in March 2020 an e-learning platform that provides free of charge lessons in Arabic and English for all public school students for grade 1 through 12 to solve the problems faced by students in Jordan due to the COVID-19 pandemic. CloudFront provides fast, secured, high quality, and high reliability delivery of video-based classroom content to students across Jordan. Same way, we are seeing new business models. For instance, Aclon Fitness provides state-of-the-art exercise equipment through which users in the United States, Canada, France, Germany, and the UK access live, on-demand, studio-quality workouts. To accommodate exponential growth in 2020 due to workout from home trend, the live classes were distributed globally using Amazon CloudFront. Finally, universities and schools across the globe have been using CF to deliver classroom sessions and contents using CloudFront. Now to the third trend, which makes CloudFront an essential cloud service, which needs to be available 365 days and 24/7. Pandemic has reinforced that service fundamentals is and will always be the most important foundation block of doing business online. We believe in the mantra that service fundamentals of security, availability, performance associated with lower costs for CDN is the number one feature and building block. CloudFront infrastructure is built for offering performance at a very low latency, low packet loss, and high overall network quality worldwide. I'll be doing a dive deep on capacity, security, availability, and performance in the next few slides. But I want to emphasize that due to our focus on service fundamentals, we keep on looking at ways to pass the cost savings to customers. First, as you already know, there is no transfer fees for origin fetches from any AWS origin, and AWS Certificate Manager offer custom TLS certificates at no charge. Second, we have done 4 public price cuts in the last 3 years. 3 years. We have launched CloudFront Functions, which is phenomenally lower in cost compared to our earlier offerings. And third, this year, to complement our simple pay-as-you-go pricing model, we launched CloudFront Security Saving Bundle that helps save up to additional 30%. Now, let's look more into how these trends and their impact on CloudFront service. We now have more than 600,000 customers with an over 6 million distributions. Pandemic has made us grow our infrastructure of edge POPs and global network at a very rapid rate. We now have 340 plus terabits per second of global network with edge POPs in 200 locations covering over 90 cities and 47 countries. These numbers are literally changing by week, and every week we add more POPs and expand our network capacity. I will also like to explain more on our edge POPs. We have 2 types of edge presence, often called as POPs. We have 250 plus classic POPs, which are our high density caches deployed across the globe in a very high security facilities. And there are other 50 plus smaller footprint caches, which we call embedded POPs, deployed within the ISP networks. Both these POP types ensure a very high security standard, which we'll talk about little more in detail later. CloudFront Classic POPs are located in individual red zones, AWS controlled spaces. For newer POPs co-located in network provider spaces, the rack itself is a mini red zone with same security profile as with cameras, rack monitoring, link monitoring, and so on. While we are on the topic of infrastructure, let me do a little more dive deep into embedded POPs as we continue to do some deep engineering in this space. As I mentioned before, we have 51 of these deployments in 29 cities today. When customers use these embedded POPs, we have seen 10 to 26% improvement in first byte latency in tier 2, 3 cities. We are pleased with the latency improvements from these embedded POPs, but a lot has gone behind the scene to make these POPs as secure as our highly secure red zone POPs, both on the software layer and hardware intrusion detection layer. Both the data and at rest and in transit are encrypted using state-of-the-art hardware and software. We have enabled TPM, Trusted Platform Module, a computer chip on these POPs that can securely store artifacts used to authenticate the platform. We have enabled Remote Key Server, a solution to manage TLS private keys and certificates in a distributed system to make sure that distribution of sensitive material, especially private keys and other customer secrets, are highly protected. Now we are working on the second version of these POPs, which are even smaller in footprint when compared to our first version, but meets the same security standards. Our plan is to continue to optimize these POPs software stack to meet the growing demand of live streaming and game downloads. We have bigger plans on expansion of our embedded POPs in late 2021, and we will continue to do so in 2022. When we are talking about CDN, we cannot ignore the part that the network plays in the success or the global capacity of CDN network. Over the years, we have scaled and fine-tuned our network to make it humongous in scale, highly reliable, and with a very high throughput. Global traffic moves quickly over highly redundant network capacity of over 340 terabits per second, enabling us to handle spiky, unpredictable internet traffic. All our high cache density POPs are connected to the highly redundant AWS owned backbone built with 100 gig network devices. And these POPs are also connected to every major eyeball network for the most optimal performance. We use machine learning extensively to build intelligent routing mechanisms to increase edge cache rates. We also provide regional edge caches in 12 AWS regions. To explain what regional edge caches are, these are mid-tier caches providing even greater cache width to keep content in the cache. More importantly, these mid-tier caches protect customer regions from traffic spikes generated by simultaneous view requests coming from many of our own edge locations. We believe that the scale and quality of network is especially important for media streaming, both for video on demand and live streaming. Our network is precisely tuned and scaled to deliver media content from one of the biggest CDN networks in the world. On our network, on our own AWS network, close to 70% of egress traffic is from ever increasing traffic of CloudFront. And we continue and constantly keep on looking on further expanding our scale and investing in new technologies to meet growing customer demand across the world. Now let's talk about our availability. Every single decimal point on availability matters. Here, as you can see on the slide, our availability metrics as measured by Sodexis, a third-party system. If we see our availability on all major markets such as the US, the UK, Brazil, Japan, India, Western Europe, we are consistently better on availability compared to any other CDN provider. What also helps here is that CloudFront is built on our own global infrastructure that delivers very high network availability as compared to any other cloud provider. So the previous slide showed our availability numbers. Here we will talk about how we think about availability or resiliency at a different levels. We look at availability at network, each link, peer, and have automated systems in place for traffic engineering. A vast majority of network congestion that happens due to sudden traffic surges, such as for live events, game downloads, are handled automatically without any end user impact. Next, at the server or host level, we continue to do a lot of engineering investment. We are continuously pushing the boundaries of server efficiency to drive more throughput and to scale better. This helps handle spikes. For example, we are currently deploying our own layer 3 and layer 4 load balancers inside our edge POPs, replacing the typical ECMP-based load balancing solution. DDoS protection, you will hear more about this from Andy, but this is core to our availability story. Finally, we offer controls to customers to build highly available applications with CloudFront, such as Origin Failover, Origin Shield, that comes built in with multi-region fallbacks. Our deployment strategies and tooling is also built with availability in mind. Every single code change which we deploy goes through waves or stripes to reduce the blast radius of any change. If change displays any unexpected behavior in any of the stripes, it is immediately rolled back in an automatic fashion. Same as availability. When we look at the performance of our service, we again are consistently on the top when compared with any other CDN. Here you can see our performance matrix in countries like the US, France, Australia, and India, and you can compare us against other providers to see the performance advantage which our customers get when using CloudFront. So, how do we make sure we continue to be a performant CDN? We do so by focusing on every single layer. We start with network protocol enhancements to build our edge pops in a way that those provide a very high cache hit rates. Then we have a relentless focus on enhancing our server and network capacity. And finally, the most important aspect is constant focus on our software stack. Over the years, we have done multiple investments, and it's not possible to cover all of those in one single session, but we have our constant focus on improving our congestion control algorithms to enable more stable reaction to congestion and better sustained throughput. Finally, it's important to get little more under the hoods on what we are doing on protocol improvements. Let's start with our migration from OpenSSL to our own created S2N, a new open source TLS implementation. Our implementation streamlined TLS library of over 6,000 lines of code, 6,000 lines of code versus 500,000 lines for OpenSSL, leading to better session reuse, lower SSL handshake latency, fewer blocked SSL handshakes. This has led to a significant improvement in SSL handshake block times and TLS handshakes. Now we are almost there to launch IETF standard quick/HTTP3 to reduce latency using reliable transport over UDP. Compared to HTTP2, Quick and HTTP3 shows an up to 30% of improvement in time to download and significant improvement in packet loss metrics. We have few of our marquee customers already using it now. While we are on the topic of protocols, let's talk about what we have been doing over the years to improve on TLS and domain security. We have done multiple investments in this area. We started many years back with our seamless integration with AWS Certificate Manager for SSL. And since then, we have enhanced domain validation through TLS checks, made domain management more secure and seamless, added additional supports like for ECDS certificates. The list of investments in this area is pretty long. But result is that to date, over 7.2 million distributions have been secured using over 2.1 million certificates at no extra cost to the customers. We take compliance very seriously, and CloudFront has the most advanced security compliance certifications, namely PCI, DSS, ISO, IEC, SCOC 123, FedRAMP, Moderate, HIPAA, and many more. You can see the complete list of our certifications at the link provided in this slide. Finally, AWS has a suite of products to help you protect your applications. Due to the available time slotted, I will not go into each of these, but in short, all your CloudFront distributions are defended by default against the most frequently occurring network and transport layer DDoS attacks that can target your website or application with AWS Shield standard. To defend against more complex attacks, you can add a flexible layered security parameters by including CloudFront with AWS Shield Advanced and AWS Web Application Firewall. Firewall rules curated and managed by Amazon security experts to protect you against common CVEs and top security risks. At this point, I will like to hand over to my colleague, Andy Thomas, who will go into the details of AWS Security Service.
Thank you, Prav. You've heard from Prav how CloudFront is growing across market segments, including entertainment, e-learning, finance, government, and emerging businesses. I'd like to share how AWS Perimeter Protection Services can help you double down on the security, performance, and availability of CloudFront, building integrated layers of security to make your applications even more highly available and protected against internet threats. Bots are an increasingly pervasive challenge, and let's look at how there are a few real world examples that are faced by AWS customers. And while we can't share their names here, the business challenges that they face may be relatable to your own. The first example is from a retail customer in Europe with e commerce operations. And like most retailers, they have both web and mobile application assets. In this case, the customer faced numerous credential stuffing attacks and faced hundreds of thousands of bogus login attempts every day. And the unsuccessful login attempts often led to locked accounts, while successful attempts would be followed by abuse, like the cashing out of customer loyalty points. And both outcomes were negative for actual users, driving down satisfaction and requiring refunds or credits from the customer. The second example is from a customer who operates a service for storing and serving user generated content, including images and videos. In their case, because of the large number of assets available from the application, frequent crawling by search engines was driving greater usage and cost, really, than their millions of actual users. And in the sessions today and in the coming days, you'll learn how AWS WAF with bot control can help customers address these kinds of issues. Customers also face DDoS attacks. These distributed denial of service attacks are an ever-present and ever-growing issue. The attacks commonly use compromised devices or servers on the internet to send large amount of traffic or requests to a targeted application in an attempt to exhaust network capacity or overwhelm application resources, blocking the availability to serve valid user requests. In 2020, AWS Shield, our DDoS protection service, detected over 750,000 attacks against AWS customers. This was up about 14% from the year before. Well over 99% of these attacks are detected and mitigated by AWS Shield with no operator engagement or customer involvement. In addition to bots, distributed denial of service or DDoS attacks are an ever-present and ever-growing issue. The attacks commonly use compromised devices or servers on the internet to send large amounts of traffic or requests to targeted applications in an attempt to exhaust network capacity or overwhelm application resources, blocking availability to serve valid user requests. In 2020, AWS Shield, our DDoS protection service, detected over 750,000 attacks against AWS customers, up 14% year over year. And while well over 99% of these attacks are automatically detected and mitigated by AWS Shield with no operator engagement or customer impact, it's still an area that customers are concerned about. Application layer attacks, which attempt to overwhelm an application's front or back-end infrastructure with large numbers of requests, represent about 35% of the attacks that we see today. And they're growing at a faster rate as bad actors shift to new attack vectors or to higher value attacks, including account takeover or transaction fraud. Meanwhile, bad actors are increasingly attempting to monetize DDoS attacks via extortion, threatening to take down a site unless paid a ransom. And these types of extortion attempts often come in pulses that last several months. One such peak occurred over 4 months in the second half of 2020. And unfortunately, Even if they have no intent to pay, application owners need to take these threats seriously. During this time, multiple customers escalated to AWS upon receiving DDoS threats. About a third had recently subscribed to AWS Shield Advanced and requested expedited setup and onboarding consultation. And AWS assisted with architecture best practice recommendations and expedited onboarding with Shield Advanced. So, based on these trends, we see that customers are focused on a number of areas and use cases. One of them is really protecting their web applications. Another is protecting certain mission critical applications, and particularly ones that may be very latency sensitive. So that can be gaming, voice applications, video streaming, etc. Another is that many customers are running serverless applications today and need protections for those as well. And finally, there's a subset of customers that are maybe still running on-prem, but who want to use CloudFront as their front-end CDN for their content. And really, we're able to help in all of these instances. Now, but really, what as an application owner should you do to protect against these threats? So many of the volumetric threats that I've talked about, they can be effectively mitigated by really building resilient architectures. And AWS publishes and updates a white paper called AWS Best Practices for DDoS Resiliency to help you do exactly that. The white paper provides an overview of DDoS attacks and design choices that you can make when building on AWS to provide your application the greatest ability to absorb and mitigate volumetric events. And I really highly recommend that you read this, regardless of whether you intend to subscribe to AWS Shield or any of the other perimeter protection services, because there is a tremendous amount that you can do just by following these best practices. And while low in frequency, large terabit scale attacks and request floods with tens of millions of requests per second, these are high severity threats that are best mitigated when you closely use these best practices. And really adopting them can also help protect you against complex and multi-vector attacks. And while those can be lower in volume, sometimes they can be more challenging and difficult to identify or mitigate. For many applications running on AWS or on-prem, the greatest resiliency benefits for you as a customer will come from when you use CloudFront in conjunction with Route 53 for your DNS. So we've talked about bots and DDoS and how by following AWS best practices, you can build your applications for availability. But what else can you do to protect them? That's really where perimeter protection services come into play. Here I'd like to focus especially on AWS WAF and AWS Shield. WAF, which includes bot control, enables you to protect web applications using managed rules from AWS or the AWS Marketplace by writing custom rules of your own, or by enabling bot control, which appears in WAF as an additional type of managed rule. Shield Advanced provides expanded managed protection against DDoS events, including attack visibility for your Amazon EC2 instances, Elastic load balancers, CloudFront distributions, Route 53 hosted zones, and AWS global accelerators. So very broad DDoS protection across all of those services. But WAF and Shield really work together with the AWS services that you already use. And I think this is a really important point because these direct integrations allow you to enable protection against DDoS threats and web exploits without needing to re-architect your infrastructure. Just with a single click, you can enable these very effective protections to keep your applications safe and online. And if you need to deploy WAF, Shield Advanced, or any of the other firewall protections that AWS offers reliably and at scale, AWS Firewall Manager has you covered. Firewall Manager provides centralized configuration and automatic deployment for AWS firewall and DDoS protection services, ensuring consistency and compliance across accounts and applications. When used in conjunction with Amazon CloudFront and Route 53, AWS WAF, Shield Advanced, and Firewall Manager provide unparalleled protection at the edge against some of the world's largest and most complex attacks. Your traffic is served protected over one of the biggest CDN networks in the world. We have over 300 edge locations strategically placed in serving content very close to viewer locations where it matters. Over the last 12 months, we've added 6 new locations and over 50 edge locations. In addition to this, we're continuing to work on our embedded POP program with 55 locations placed directly within carrier networks for added performance and even closer proximity to viewers. This is a strategy we're driving even faster through the rest of 2021 and 2022. We also provide 13 regional edge caches, which are mid-tier caches, providing even greater cache width to keep content. More importantly, they protect customer origins from traffic spikes generated by simultaneous viewer requests coming from our many edge locations. And all of this is connected to the AWS backbone for optimal performance. We've got an exciting few days planned, with topics including today's intro and focus on edge computing. Tomorrow, we'll cover infrastructure and availability, and then focus on other topics like performance and scalability. When you're done, you should have a great idea for how you can leverage CloudFront, perimeter protection services, and other AWS capabilities at the edge to improve your application performance and security. And if you'd like to learn more on your own, a great place to visit is the networking and content delivery page on the AWS website. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great week and that you enjoy the sessions to come. Thank you.